You're live.
Showtime.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
It's Charlotte and Jessica.
That's right.
We are coming to you live
From Pensacola, Florida.
at Aragon Wine Market.
That's right.
It is the holidays. It feels like the holidays. I don't know. It's a little chilly here. I know it's a lot of chilly in Washington State, where Kim is, and she'll be joining us in a bit.
So exciting.
Yeah, I would say it's a little chilly here. It feels a little bit like Christmas to me. And that means, what does that mean? We've got Christmas boxes.
Yes.
We did our Christmas boxes. Finally, I'm sorry it took me forever to get that put in the system. And but I wanted to make sure I got the best wine for you guys. We are doing a mixed case because in the past we've only done a mixed case.
I titled it Sugar and Spice.
Yes, Sugar and Spice. In the past we've only done a mixed case, but so many people wanted only reds. We've done a red lovers case, which
and that's
is
Rudolph the Red Nose.
Rudolph the Red Nose. So we sent out an email, but if you we'll also put it on Facebook, and so there are some great wines. The mixed case has everything from bubbly to
bubbly, some delicious wines, some Riesling that's really good.
Everything that you need for the holidays, and then it is a little heavier on the reds, and we threw in a port as well for
the Quinta de la Rosa, that 10-year tawny that we did weeks ago. That was so good.
So you'll get one bottle each of those in the Sugar and Spice. And then in the Rudolph the Red Nose,
I wasn't really sure about that
name. I know, I like that.
I had to go with it.
I love it. In that box, you'll actually get two of each of the reds, except for one of the port, because who needs 2 bottles of port? Not saying you don't, but for the holidays. And one bottle of the Mary Edwards Pinot, which is a little special, little higher end treat. So those are ready. Look in your email. So for all the specifics, if you don't see it on your email, or if you're not a member of the email, you can always go on our Facebook page, or you can call us and we can tell you exactly what's in it. And so you will also be getting a 15% discount. So it's pretty significant. It's like takes it from 300 to 2 something. So I mean, it's a pretty significant discount. The other thing is that we had construction out front, and I was going to tell you all about it, but the guys fixed it.
They pulled the cones away today, and all of the safety.
It was like perfect timing, guys. Thanks a lot. We needed construction out front, like we needed a hole in our head or whatever. Whatever that saying is.
It was a continuation of that's so 2020.
Exactly.
When they started doing construction on the road.
2020 at Christmas.
That's so 2020. It's 3 weeks before Christmas, and you're starting road construction directly in front of the store.
But I will tell you that it reminds me to tell you that we do have parking out back. So if it's busy out front, because we do have other businesses that park out front as well. So if you can't park out front, we have parking in the back. You can park on our pad, and we also have designated parking for spaces that I pay good money for. So feel free to use them.
Absolutely.
The other thing, the little housekeeping thing I want to say is that we've decided that we are going to continue the virtual wine tastings into January. So since it's cold outside and we can't enjoy and meet together outside, we are going to have the virtual tastings through January. We'll see where we go in February. And
I feel like most people understand what that is, but we still have customers that come in there like, virtual wine tasting. How do you taste the wine virtually?
You're right.
And so just to kind of elaborate on that a little bit for those of our customers and viewing guests that don't know, every week we announce the wines that we're going to be tasting the upcoming week, giving you an opportunity to come in the store and purchase them and take them home and make plans for your Thursday afternoon, your Thursday evening. At 6 o'clock we go live. But the beautiful thing about this is that they're evergreen. So once it's recorded, maybe you can't get home by Thursday at 6.
Yeah.
And maybe you want to try it on Saturday when you're going to have, your sister or your bestie over and you guys are going to cook something
Right.
and you want to hear the information about the wine. You can always go back to our Facebook page or our YouTube page and watch these videos later and get all the amazing information directly from all the sources that we've had join us, which have been amazing. We've been all over the world.
Especially like last week, we did the cooking class with Troubadour. The chef from who had formerly been with French Laundry, who is now in Pensacola, put us together a recipe and a cooking class. And unfortunately, we didn't have very good sound, but you can go back now and look at the whole recipe is online. So, and you can take your time and cook it yourself. So, we are an open wine store, so there is also sometimes customers come in. So Jessica will be right back. But I did want to talk a little bit about the winery that we have today that's joining us. It's Lacole Winery, and they are from Washington State, specifically Walla Walla. I've been to Washington State a couple of times, but never as far east as Walla Walla. It's more central towards the east part of the state. Apparently it's very cold there. The winery is a third generation family run, so always like that, and they're sustainable, and which is also cool. We have Kim from the winery joining us tonight, as long as Michael Fix. Let's join in Kim first. Hi, Kim.
Hi, how are
Thank
you?
you so much for joining us.
You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. It's fun to be
Thank you.
here.
And we're going to grab Michael Fix in as well. Hi, Fix.
Hey, Michael.
Hi. So, Kim, I was just talking about how cold it is out there. You're staying warm in the blustery snow and 20-degree weather.
Yes, here in Eastern Washington, it's a little different than what people imagine when they think of Washington, which is mostly they think of Seattle, which is where most of the population of the state is. But here on the east side, it's a lot drier, and it's also a lot warmer, and in the winter a lot colder. So we had temperatures into the 20s for 5 or 6 consecutive days. We never made it out of the 20s, but
wow,
luckily
that's cold.
we're back up into the 30s now, and it's a little foggy. So
back into the 30s. Well, I remember when I went to Red Mountain. It was I don't want to say quite hilly, but there were some hills and mountains. What's the terrain like in Walla Walla?
We are definitely in a valley. So there's the hillsides of the valley are about 1,500 feet high. And then at the very east base of that valley are the Blue Mountains. And those are the westernmost foothills to the Rockies. So I can see snow on the mountains outside my window, whether I'm at the winery or at home. So they're quite looming here.
That's really neat.
Have a big effect on our valley.
So I remember thinking it was quite interesting when I went out there, and that there seemed like there were grapevines growing everywhere. Do you feel that way there? Or?
Definitely. There are so much more. I started in this industry about 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And we only had a few hundred planted acres, and today there's going on 3,000 planted acres just here in the valley, not to mention everything that's gone on in Washington State during that time. So
Sure.
We're the second largest wine region in the country right now after California. So that's, we're pretty small though. We only about 6% of the grapes come from Washington. That's how big California is. But yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of growth over the last 2 decades.
Wow, that's pretty neat. So how long have you been with Lacole?
Since 1998.
Oh,
so
gosh.
Back when we just had about 5,000 cases in the cellar, and
you were a baby.
Yeah, no, but yeah, it's been really fun for me. This is such a great family to work for, and the vision of our ownership, Marty Club, who's our owner and managing winemaker, has been amazing in helping develop not only just the vineyards and the industry, but also his dedication to making quality wine here in Walla Walla and Washington as well.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I forgot, I see Carol Moore is chiming in. So great to see you all. Love So one of the things I forgot to tell everybody is that please do feel free to ask questions. Pam and Bill Davey and Philip Warren are all watching tonight. Thank you guys so much. The best part about having these virtual wine tastings is that we are able to have somebody like Kim join us from Washington State, who's been with the winery since 1998, I believe, and has all the answers. So if there's any questions that you have, please feel free to just chime in. We don't always have to call out your name if you'd prefer not. You can be anonymous question asker. But so L'Ecole, it has been family run for three generations, as you were saying.
I want to know a little bit about the schoolhouse that is now, in the marketing. When I was reading everything, it talks about that now the home base is this schoolhouse. And can you tell me a little bit about the history of that and why that's so iconic in Walla Walla, Washington?
Yeah, definitely. That building was actually built in 1915. It sits just west of the city of Walla Walla, about 11 miles. But Gina Baker Ferguson, who started the winery and had a lifelong love for wine, and at the time that they were looking for a home for their winery, they kept passing by this old building. Well, it had operated from 1915 to the early 70s, and then it was sitting empty. So they purchased it in 1978 and actually spent several years renovating it for it to become the home of their winery. So L'Ecole is French for school, and then the number 41 was the school district number. And so they renovated the schoolhouse. And at the beginning, of course, they were very small, making all their own wine, and all of it was made in the cellar of the school. Even when I started in 1998, we still had barrels being stored down there. Now it's a beautiful redone tasting area that people can enjoy. But that school is, we get so many people who went there, taught there. I even had a retired FBI agent say, I stopped and taught a civics class on my way to Washington State University because I had a friend through there. So it's a really, people love coming into the school. It's been so well cared for and taken care of and restored. And I think in a time when there's so much, things get torn down and beautiful new things go up, it's also really just as wonderful to take care of some of our history as well. So
yes, for sure,
absolutely.
One of the statistics that one of the interesting facts that I saw about the winery was that it was the third winery in Walla Walla. That's pretty impressive.
Yes. So today there's almost 1,000. And at the time, it was the 20th in the state and the third in Walla Walla.
Wow.
Right ahead of us were Leonetti and Woodward Canyon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's funny is that I've heard of you guys more than I've heard of the other two. So who knows?
Their families run wineries as well, but maybe just a little smaller, but but definitely well known, especially here in the Northwest. Definitely.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, that's super neat. So I guess the first wine we're going to do is the Chardonnay. Would you want to do the presentation first, or would you want to do the
video introduction?
Yeah. Let's give people a little bit of a taste of Walla Walla, since you can't be there, and I actually kind of wish I was in Florida because it sounds a little warmer there.
Well, it's warmer.
It's nice.
Yes, it's warmer than there, absolutely.
But we'll bring a little bit of
days. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and put your video in, Kim. And then, David, I see you got a question there. We'll come back to you in just a second for those recommendations. Okay, here we go.
See if I can do that this time.
My name is Marty Clubb, and I'm the owner and managing winemaker for our own winery, L'Ecole Number 41, here in the Walla Walla Valley.
Some sound issues.
We were founded over 35 years ago as the third winery.
Maybe can we start it over? That to me has got some sound problems.
Yeah.
Is everybody else hearing the sound problems or just us?
My name is Marty Clubb, and I'm the owner and managing winemaker for our family-owned winery, Nicole.
It's good to you.
Here in the Walla Walla Valley of Washington State. We were founded over 35 years ago as the third winery in Walla Walla and the 20th winery in Washington State, and are truly considered one of the pioneering wineries from Washington. Nicole is French for the school, and we're housed in the old Frenchtown Schoolhouse just west of Walla Walla. Our founders were my wife, Megan's parents, Gene and Baker Ferguson, who founded the winery in 1983. Our newest estate vineyard, Ferguson, was named in honor of Gene and Baker. Since we've been in the wine business for more than 35 years, we work with some of the oldest, most prestigious vineyards in Eastern Washington. And because of the vineyards are older, many of the wines are considered old vine fruit. That has helped us lead to a more consistent profile in all of our wines. We sell our wines all over the United States. We tend to be in the best restaurants, some of the finest wine shops, but we sell in 48 states. Our Columbia Valley wines are varietal focused, meaning they're each focused on a unique variety, whether it be Chenin Blanc, Semillon, Chardonnay, Merlot, Syrah, or Cabernet Sauvignon. We use blends of older, proven vineyards that we've worked with for many years to craft a wine focused on making the best of those varieties. Our Walla Walla wines are more terroir focused, more focused on the unique microclimate of the Walla Walla Valley, driven by really two estate vineyards, Seven Hills Vineyard and Ferguson Vineyard. But we do make an array of wines from Walla Walla, including our estate Merlot, our estate Syrah, our Walla Walla Valley Cabernet Sauvignon, and the pinnacle is 3 Bordeaux blends, Pepperbridge Vineyard Apogee, Seven Hills Vineyard Perigee, and the more recent addition, Ferguson. We've received many accolades over the years from some of the most influential critics around the country. The 3 that really come to mind that I'm most proud of are Wine and Spirits magazine names 100 wineries as their top 100 wineries of the year. We've received this honor 14 times. That really speaks to the consistency and the quality of our wines every year. In the summer of 2014, we won the Decanter World Wine Awards for our Ferguson Bordeaux blend as the best Bordeaux blend in the world over 15 pounds. That may be the most significant award we've ever received. And more recently, we're proud to be nominated as the American Winery of the Year by Wine Enthusiast magazine. Our consistency and quality has led to our reputation as one of the most trusted and reliable brands in Washington State. The future of Washington and for Nicole is really quite bright. We are developing new estate vineyards in Walla Walla, producing more and more Walla Walla estate wines. And Washington State really is just becoming discovered internationally and around the country. So please look for Nicole. And when you think Walla Walla, drink Nicole.
All right.
Hello.
Well, hopefully, yes. So we brought a little Walla Walla to Florida today.
So I
That's
guess
such a beautiful schoolhouse.
it's the whole place is gorgeous. I see why they would drive by and want to buy that property.
Yeah,
And my
absolutely.
first question is, do you have a carriage house? Do you have a little guest house out back for people like me?
We get that question a lot and wish we did, but the only thing we have sitting
Say,
out back
we lost you.
are
We don't have sound. Are you muted?
We may be.
I don't
We
think-
turned ours down.
We're not. Oh, wait. Say it again. Sorry.
Am I there now?
Yes.
Okay. We get that question quite often, and unfortunately, we don't. What we have sitting behind our schoolhouse is our production facility. So,
Got it.
lots of
Well,
barrels.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such a gorgeous
Yeah.
place, and I definitely, if we do get out that way, we'll stop in because I mean, just everything about it is just top notch. It looks like they've done everything just top notch. And Philip Warren said, "Virtual clap." I'll clap for you. So the first one that we'll try today is the Chardonnay.
Yes.
And,
So we
I
have,
understand this comes from a cooler area.
it does.
Okay.
We do talk about this being a cool climate Chardonnay, and we're the growing region for Washington sits between the 46th and the 48th parallel, so that's quite far north. And then in addition to that, the vineyards that we're choosing are in the cooler growing regions of Washington state. So about half of this fruit comes from the Yakima Valley, which is east of us, kind of nestled up toward those big Cascade Mountains, and then up north in what's called the Ancient Lakes AVA. So the very cool growing regions, but we get beautiful stone fruit and nice ripeness of fruit from the Yakima Valley. And then from that evergreen vineyard in what they call the Ancient Lakes AVA, and it's called that because it really is just a bunch of dried up old lake beds, but they're full of calcium carbonate. So it's like limestone that was never under the ocean. So, but very beautiful minerality coming from that vineyard, from that cool site, and then beautiful acidity from both. So you get a little bit of everything, but this definitely, I think, drinks like a cool climate Chardonnay.
Yeah,
Definitely has that wonderful acidity, which makes it so friendly with food. It's really fun. There's a vibrancy here to this Chardonnay that I always find very distinctive.
That's a perfect word for it. It's vibrant. And Carol Morrill is asking, does it have an oak taste to it? And I would say, even though I know it does see some time in oak, I would say that I wouldn't call it like an oaky Chardonnay. It definitely, has some of that influence. But what would you tell Carol?
Yeah, we definitely do age this in French oak, but not very much new French oak. So it's mostly older barrels. So, and we do actually some aging on the lees as well. So you get this nice richness, and you definitely get a hint of the kind of the roundness and that you get from the oak, but it's definitely not overwhelming at all. This wine is so well balanced, I think, in that category. So for people who don't like too much oak, and for people who like some, I think it's the perfect balance.
A good balance. So when you say aged on the lees, can you explain that to everybody that's watching?
Sure. That means that the skins of the grapes will actually keep some of those in the barrel while the wine is aging. And so
that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah,
I've heard it explained so many different ways, but that's like nitty gritty, the easiest way of explaining it.
Yeah, it is really that. And we do that, and we'll go through and taste, and it's really the solids that fall out of as a result of the winemaking process, because we do a whole cluster pressing when the grapes first come in, and they go directly to barrel after one night of settling. So there's still quite a few solids in that wine. So when those solids kind of fall to the bottom, they actually go through and taste those barrels, and the ones they really like those flavors of, they'll leave those lees on. They might rack the lees off of some of the other barrels, again, shooting for the balance of style that they want for that particular vintage. But then the ones they do leave, they'll go through and stir those barrels weekly to continue to infuse kind of those beautiful yeasty flavor, aromas and flavors back into the wine. And
that's my favorite. I love that kind of yeasty stuff.
Yeah, it gives us such a nice texture to the wine and full aromas, I think.
Yeah, and this wine almost tastes like, I'm not being presumptuous to say that I think like the oak treatment that goes on at L'Ecole and in a lot of Washington wineries is really one of the hallmarks of what Washington does. The way that L'Ecole uses oak, and we'll see this when we see the Merlot, it's one of the most unique and delicious applications of oak that's going on in the New World, I think, in any New World country. But also this wine, this Chardonnay, if you were blind tasting me on this, I might pick this out as being like a Merlot. This is like, because of the fact that it retains that texture and that acidity, and then the oak is just really done very deftly. It's done in a very unique and really spot on and careful approach. Anybody who really likes like their best Burgundies, and I know like maybe Kim doesn't want me to say this, but like you don't want to say Washington is like Burgundy or Washington is like Bordeaux or whatever, but there's a reason why Washington is unique in the way that not only the terroir, but also the winemaking philosophy is really quite different than their neighbors to the southwest, California. It's much different, you know. I mean, it really is, and this is a wine that exemplifies that. I think more than maybe any other wine from La Cole in a lot of ways, because Chardonnay is done in a lot of different ways in the New World, and this is very different than a lot of those, I think.
Thank you. I also find it is very distinctive. We actually just had Harper's Magazine contact us in the last 2 months, and they had a request to make sure that our Chardonnay was in the mix for their blind tasting with their Masters of Wine. And
Oh, nice.
that's such an honor for our family winery. So it's always really exciting when those things happen. But thank you for saying that. It's we're very proud of our Chardonnay as well. So, and there's so many in the world, you know, so it's fun to find new places where it's grown and see how it tastes. I like doing that myself. So yeah, hopefully people, if you haven't had it yet, go out and grab a bottle.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and
Fabulous
we did sell out of it and the Merlot, but I think we got some more back in. If not, we'll have it back in.
Yeah, we sold out. We have it back in now. So
Oh,
we
nice.
still have a few bottles of each available.
So
But
if
the first
anybody's
round,
looking.
we did sell out, which is always,
Nice.
we love
Yeah.
that when we do the virtual tastings when they literally, thank you so much. I mean, Philip, one of our customers that's commenting was like, I'll take 2 of these and 4 of these. And it's wonderful to get that call immediately after announcing what the wines were, because there was so much so that following already. And I'm certain that our customers that are just trying it will be.
And I will just say,
Customers
this is
from now
Philip's
on.
style of Chardonnay.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. He can comment if not, but I believe it's his style of Chardonnay. I would say the wines that I think of for Washington State are Chardonnay. And he said, how does the vintage compare to others? That's a good question. How would you compare this vintage to other years?
The 17 vintage was quite unique. It actually, we started out with a really cool spring, so it was a little bit slower to get going, which actually worked out in our favor. Here in Washington State, because of our really cold winters, when it gets too cold, we really like the vines to wake up slowly. So it was a very cool spring. July and August, actually, it was a little bit warmer than normal. But then we also had a cool fall. So, and that's the beautiful thing about here. We'll be, 85 to 100 degrees in July and August. And magically, somewhere during the first week of September, the temperatures fall. And we're able to let those grapes continue to hang on the vine and continue to gain structure and complexity without losing acidity. So it cools down at night, warms up to 75 during the day. And because it gets so cool at night down into the 40s, that helps preserve that natural acidity in the grapes. So most of the grapes for this vintage of Chardonnay were picked in October. So it was a really kind of perfect year for especially whites in 2018. So
yeah. Well, it's drinking wonderfully, and Philip, I will say that Philip did confirm that it is his style of Chardonnay. I knew it was.
I'm glad to hear that.
It is good. And what I was saying before we kind of got off track was that I do think of, when I think of Washington, I think of Chardonnay and I think of Merlot. And I think that they are doing some of the best Merlot. Merlot had a little, I don't know. Are we at Merlot yet? Let's go ahead and move on to Merlot.
Wait, how about what do we pair with this Chardonnay? What do you think? Cooking at home is like the most important thing right now. Unfortunately, for all of our restaurant partners, people are cooking at home, and it's a great thing. So, what should we pair with this? What do you think?
It holds up to so many. I drink this in our Semillon. If people haven't tried that, they should do that as well. But they hold up to so many foods. Everything from anything with a cream sauce, chicken, seafood, Caesar salad dressing. The acidity here in that body, it holds up to things like that. But it also, I drink it with so many things. A pizza with white sauce. I mean, it's really beautiful. It just, that, again, the acidity just kind of cuts through it and you get all that beautiful flavor. And it just goes in harmony with so many different foods. So, I mean, that's my favorite part of drinking the wine. So
I was camping this week and took a white Burgundy camping with me and had king crab and lobster and royal reds. And I'm saying,
Just like everybody else, right?
Brag there.
Just like everybody else's camping adventure, we have caviar, we've got crude.
I didn't mention caviar and crude, but
That's okay. That was reality.
But anyway, like this right here would go so well with a lot of the foods that we have here on the coast already. Lobster, of course, but like all of the like grouper and the royal reds, which are like mini lobsters in themselves. I feel like this would go well with a lot of that kind of seafood pairings that we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like a snapper Lafitte or like a grouper, like, or chicken piccata, something that has that like creamy sauce.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, that cream balanced with a white fish or a chicken would be perfect.
Yeah.
The lady that just checked out a few minutes ago when I stepped away had a car full of fried chicken, and I don't know, that was amazing with fried chicken as well. I mean, so good.
So I think
Answering a couple questions. I know you were answering a couple questions from David, who was talking about he wants an option for $100 bottle of wine for a Cabernet Sauvignon. We can come to that after we taste the Merlot, but also Pam mentions, is the Semillon available here in Florida? Yes, it is. And it is also of the same, similar price point as to the Chardonnay. And it is a wonderful Semillon. And one of the things that Washington does really, really well is Semillon as well. So yes, the Semillon is available. And also to David's point, we'll talk about a couple options for some nicer red wines that Kim can recommend for in that $100 retail range when we go through the Merlot.
Yeah.
Pam got me on the Semillon because I made a little note right here, Semillon exclamation point. Because I'm like, what? So that we'll definitely be getting that in just because I want it. So Pam will save you a bottle as well if you'd like. And Sylvia, I see you need a bottle right now, and I totally agree.
Yes, you do. It's delicious. Well, before we move on to the Merlot, just so everybody knows, the Chardonnay that we have in the store right now is priced at $21 per bottle. I mean, like we said, we do still have a couple of bottles. But moving on to the Merlot, which we have marked at 27. I know we're going to go through all the technical aspects, but since we're talking about price, go ahead and throw that out there.
Yeah.
So the Merlot, it is a composition blend though, right?
It is. Yeah. It's predominantly, of course, Merlot. But one of the things that L'Ecole has always done with this wine is it has quite a nice dollop of Cabernet Franc in here. And there's also, some Malbec and it's just a tiny bit of Petit Verdot as well. So
my favorite red grape.
And it's something we do grow here in Washington State and very successfully. So there are some single, we've actually done some for our wine club even.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, in a good year. And the Cabernet Franc from especially our estate, Seven Hills Vineyard, is just beautiful. Yeah. Very elegant, very pretty. But we love the aromatic lift that the Cabernet Franc gives our Merlot. But the Merlot we've been making since 1983, so our very first vintage. And really is the red wine that put Washington State on the wine map in the very beginning. And the reasons that it was successful there are the reasons that we hope people go out and grab a bottle of L'Ecole Merlot today. We really do have the perfect climate. In Merlot, it's not about getting it right, it's about how it gets right. And because we're so far north and we have those cool springs and the warmer heat, but then it cools down and again in the fall, that is exactly what you need to get the full physical development and structure and complexity, those beautiful flavors that you get and can get from Merlot, and the structure behind these Merlots and the acidity. these will hold up to Cabernet any day. I mean, you
Oh,
can
for
have
sure.
your biggest steak. Our Merlots are just full of body and structure and flavor. And again, that nice stamp of Washington State acidity. So very, very good with food. We do
It's very delicious. You know, we joke where we have joked over the last couple of months a few times, you know, that Merlot kind of got a bad rap and, you know, fell off the wagon for a little while after the Sideways movie, you know, and everybody kind of migrated to other things or whatever. But I mean, just like you said, this could hold up to a good steak. This would hold up to a cab to me. Certainly, it has got so much body and just like depth and roundness to it. That's beautiful.
And I hate that Merlot did get that bad rap because, and then maybe it wasn't totally unfair because a lot of places were putting out some crap Merlot. Not in Washington State because Washington State was very small wineries doing it right. So you guys have been doing it right for a long time. I don't know about anybody else, but Petit Verdot is my favorite grape, and I think I can taste it in there. I don't know how small it is, but I feel like I can taste it in there. At 2%, it's beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah, well, Charlotte, I think it was none other than it might have been somebody at and forgive me if anybody can research this, but it might have been somebody at Cheval Blanc or Petrus. No, I'm serious. That said that when the Petit Verdot is not there, you notice it. And so, and again, forgive me which chateau it was in Bordeaux, but it was a very famous chateau that said that, you know, even if 1% of Petit Verdot is not there, it really adds a lot. But also, I would further say this about Merlot from Washington, and I'm glad we're kind of extolling the virtues of Washington Merlot. If you are trying some of these Merlots, and I would include this number 41 bottle in that with something like, and I say this with all sincerity, not as a sleazy salesperson, although I've been accused as such sometimes. I would say this, that if you taste this with things like Cheval Blanc, Ozone, Petrus, things from Fronsac, things from, you know, places like that, where the Merlot behaved in a way that makes you just sing, the Washington Merlot they really change people's minds on Merlot. They really do. People who have gotten that sideways treatment, as you say, from California Merlots, when they try Washington Merlots, they start to sing a different song. And this bottle is a great introduction to that. And I would just say that there's a magic that happens here. And I don't know what La Cole does with their oak treatment. I don't know what the Cooper is that they're getting their oak barrel from, but there is something magical about the oak treatment at La Cole specifically. I will say this, that is really magical. I don't know what they're doing, but these wines drink like they're 3 times the price, in my opinion. Just humble opinion.
Well, thank you, Michael. I don't even need to say anything now.
100% agree.
There you go. All right. So what are you sending me?
No, I think one of the things that does really make La Cole wine distinctive again is, first of all, it's the vineyards that go in here. The predominant vineyard here is our estate Seven Hills Vineyard here in Walla Walla. And then Bacchus and Dionysus are 2 of the oldest vineyards in Washington State. Even Seven Hills, goes back to the mid-90s. But Clipson on Red Mountain, the group of vineyards that goes in this bottling of Merlot, these are top vineyards with beautiful fruit, and they're managed very well. We do hand pick all our fruit as well. Everything's punched down by hand. These are handcrafted wines. This is aged 18 months. About 30% of the oak is new. And the oak tree, it's a blend of coopers from different coopers, I guess, but predominantly French oak. So
yeah. It's
lovely.
Month in oak. Let's talk about how much this wine costs.
I know. It's such
It's $27 a bottle at the shop here at Aragon, and it definitely drinks to me like a much more expensive
Oh,
wine.
for sure.
For sure.
And you've got that in it. I mean, of the cost that, of holding it for 18 months and the French oak and, and the
Absolutely.
hand picking. And I mean,
Yeah.
all those things cost money.
They do.
And we don't ever like to compare apples to apples, right? I don't want to say like compare this to a Napa Valley wine because they're two different regions. We should talk about that more. Washington is different than.
We should talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! Don't mess with me on the New York thing.
I'm talking to you.
You know, I'm one of the few New Yorkers in Pensacola selling wine. Give me a break. But when we talk about things like Washington wines compared to Napa, they're two different regions, and we should illustrate that, and we should celebrate that, and we should talk about that. However, if this was a Merlot of this quality from Napa, would the price be this price in the shop?
Yeah, I know. It'd be
I
twice
don't
the price. Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Washington
Not to
State
bash
wine
on- Not to
over
bash on
delivered.
Napa wines, but they do command different prices. And I think that if you were looking for high quality at a reasonable price, then Washington State is the way to go. I mean, not just on their Merlots, but their cabs as well. I mean, you get a lot of bang for your buck in Washington State, and I think they're thankfully underpriced right now.
Right?
Yes.
So what are we going to pair with this, Kim? What do you think for the holidays coming up for these
Oh my
fun out there?
Yeah, well, we make a lot of beef stew at our house during the winter, so it definitely holds up to all of that, or a roast and all of those wonderful roasted vegetables that go along with it. Again, we talked about steak. I mean, to me, the list is endless with Merlot. To me, it's one of the most versatile reds there are. That and Pinot Noir, I think, too, on the lighter side. But anyway, but I love this Merlot. So
Yeah. So as it's gotten colder here in Florida, in Pensacola, I am exploring with my crock pot recipe options. And last night, or yesterday, going into last night, I took my first whim at beef stroganoff. Did some sirloin tips in the crock pot, all that.
I got a little sample.
Charlotte got some leftovers as we share our food from our
do share our
recipes. We do.
Sure.
With a little note of, Happy Hanukkah. And so, but this would pair perfectly with that. I think, just that beautiful, like the robustness of the beef and even though it has the creaminess with the stroganoff element, and whether you put it on pasta or rice or something like that, it's certainly, and depending on how peppery you make yours, with toddlers at home, it's very bland. So maybe it's a bit more robust in your house, but this to me would pair beautifully with that.
Oh, definitely. And again, even like the Chardonnay, the
Chardonnay, I said that earlier, I was like stroganoff, but
no, the
absolutely.
vibrancy and acidity with the cream and the stroganoff would be beautiful. Yeah.
I would say this also, Jessica, too, sommeliers frequently point to several things that are one of the most difficult things to pair wines with, and stroganoff is actually one of those. Asparagus is another one. Artichokes is another one. These are things that are very difficult to pair with food, or pair with wine, excuse me. And stroganoff, I think, like Kim said, the Chardonnay, you wouldn't think to drink Chardonnay with beef, but I'm telling you, if you try it sometime with a really good Chardonnay that has some really deft oak treatment to it, it will change your mind. It will change your whole world to have Chardonnay with, I'm telling you, grab a bottle of Chardonnay and make some beef stroganoff with some less fatty beef, like a tenderloin or something in there instead, and you'll be surprised. But also I wanted to come back to what David was asking, and Kim can give us a good option here. He was saying, I'm a Cab Sauvignon drinker that's certainly open to other varietals. Each year at the holidays, I gift myself a $100 bottle of wine. What from La Cole can we recommend for something in that $100 retail range? What do you think, Kim?
Definitely our Estate Ferguson. It's definitely, I mean, it's exclusive to La Cole, that vineyard. It's our newest estate vineyard. It went in starting in 08 and 09. It's one of the highest elevation vineyards in Walla Walla, and it's planted on a ridge of volcanic rock. So there's only
wow.
4 feet of soil up there. Then the vine roots are going right into fractured basalt or volcanic rock. Then it's definitely the highest acidity fruit will bring in from the entire state. But it's so beautiful. It has this wonderful minerality to it. It's predominantly Cabernet with some Merlot, Cab Franc. But I mean, it's so beautiful. It's so unique. It's so different than anything we do. We make an estate Merlot, which used to be just Seven Hills Merlot. When we added the Ferguson, so it was 50% each of those 2 vineyards, it's the wine that changed the most. I think the texture of that wine is so distinctive again. And it's really exciting. Like, for as young as that vineyard is, the wines are so stellar coming off of there. So,
And those are available in Florida?
yes. Yes.
They are. I think that not quoting this 100%, but I think the Ferguson bottle would probably be under 100. It would be under $100 actually.
Yeah.
Maybe 70 something.
Yeah.
And so, as Kim said, it's got a great provenance to it, and it's a great bottle of wine, and it would be probably in the 70s. So David could save himself some money, of course. Great. And the Merlots would be a little less than that too. So the Ferguson bottle would be a great option to try out for sure, for something that's Cabernet heavy, but with some Cabernet Franc and Merlot as well. So a great Bordeaux style blend for really, compared to some of the other wineries, not a lot of money, and under 100. As David, we're saving you some money, David. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
so great ideas for
Yeah.
David. And that's the thing, kind of, I feel like the overall theme of Washington State wines are that they are, there's a story, but it's always fun to treat. Okay. Thanks, David. So come and see us. But I do feel like that Washington is kind of like, I don't want to say the Rodney Dangerfield of the United States of the US, but like they deserve a lot more credit, and thank God we're not spending the kind of money that they've gotten to in Napa, and you're still getting that same quality or better. Kim, it must be so interesting for you to have come from 1998, I think is what you said, all the way to 2020, and seeing how not only the winery has evolved, but the wines have evolved as well.
Oh, yeah. And just the whole industry here in Washington State.
Oh, yeah.
And really, it's just thanks to all of you, like Michael, Charlotte, Jessica. You guys are awesome. Thanks for, letting us be a part of your business and showcasing our wines. And this is what it's all about. So
Yeah.
connecting.
What were people excited about? What were people excited about in 1998 from the Cole? Just as a fun fact, what do you think people were excited about in 98 when you started?
Our Merlot, we sold it out of it. If we released our estate Merlot, it was gone in like a month. I mean, Merlot was
That
so
speaks
popular.
volumes to the way Merlot is from Washington, I think.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great question, Michael, actually.
Really
because
good
I love
question.
to see, I don't know, I'm getting older or whatever. I like to see how things change and evolve, and it's just so interesting to think about. So that's pretty neat. So
But they still want the Merlot. They still want the wonderful Merlot from Washington, which has survived the sideways, which has survived all of that. I mean, that's amazing to think about. From 98 to now, people still want the Merlot, and what's in the glass, I mean, I have right here is a proof of that, for sure.
Absolutely.
yeah, for sure.
And I think it's really refreshing and beautiful, Kim, just so you know, and if I can comment on this, to have you on board. You can see your excitement and passion and love for your organization.
Yeah.
And that conveys, we're all really passionate about what we do. And I love seeing that, to see that excitement is wonderful, to have that on the other end of the video, which sometimes it's like, yes, this is what it is. And it's very cool and
No,
we love it.
you can tell.
But you're so excited and vibrant, and I think the vibrancy and beauty of the wine conveys through you. So I hope that's a compliment that you take.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
That.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining
Yeah.
us.
You guys too.
Yeah. Well,
If you ever, when things get
I
back to
know.
normal, people say that all the time, and it's kind of cheeky, but not anymore because we're over it. But if you ever get back to Florida, please come to Pensacola and come see us.
Or
Yeah, I was supposed to be there twice this year, so I'm
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
behind, like by a long way. So I'm excited to get back. So thanks.
2021. Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
Definitely.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, you're lovely, and I hope you have a great holiday. And
Thank you,
thank you
guys.
so much for joining us. And we'll see you in the future soon.
Yeah,
I hope.
definitely. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Oh my gosh,
Perfect.
she's so pretty, isn't she?
She was lovely.
I know. I
Oh my
just think she
gosh,
was so
she was
pretty.
gorgeous.
And like you said, the most part about her is what I find about
It
people
was
being pretty is
The
their
energy.
passion and
Yes.
love of what they do and happiness. She's a happy person. I mean, you can
Yeah,
tell she's
it's
a happy
lovely
person
to have
because
someone that's
she
passionate.
is.
and-
Yeah.
Charlotte,
Yes.
we're happy people in this wine business, are we not? Come on.
We're pretty and happy, right?
Well,
If you can't be happy-
One of the first virtual wine tastings, I was like, gosh, I just love about wine. I love the stories. And you're like, Jessica, that's why we're in the business. We all love the stories. And
Yeah.
it was real because the stories behind the wine and the people behind the wine, the families
Yeah.
that drive the industry are so incredible. Yes, it's a business, but it's amazing to really understand 3 generations of a family in Walla Walla, Washington. They were the third winery out of now what is 1,000 wineries in this region. Dang, that's amazing, and to speak directly with someone that for 12 years plus has been an integral part of their organization. It's
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It
So-
really is.
Yeah.
And you're right, just the stories. And we didn't even touch on there was
We don't
much-
look at all the
much more.
tech stuff.
I know.
yeah.
I feel so bad because I always feel like we could talk for 2 hours, and but we do have to limit it. And if you can't be happy in the wine business, where else could you be possibly happy? Thank you, Pam.
Amen.
Maybe I said to somebody today.
That's right, Pam. As I say all the time, we're in the business of bringing people pleasure. And everybody involved in this broadcast, we live this. We live it all the time. We don't we bring these bottles home with us. And I put this on my Instagram. I said, you want to see what a person that in the wine business buys? And I took a picture of it and I said, this is all the wine that I sell to everybody else. I drink this. And I always say, I look at my wines with my kids, I'm proud. When I see a wine being poured in a restaurant, that's one of my wines, I literally look at it like my kid just hit a home run. I love it. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. Or when my son learned how to spell or learned how to write his own name.
Or rap.
Or rap, yeah.
I've seen them on Instagram.
Or they say Pliny Montrachet. They pronounce Pliny Montrachet properly.
Adorable.
And which is all
on
equally
Instagram,
adorable.
too. Hey, I am so proud of that because that's literally what I'm doing, and they are just the embodiment of that. So yes. So what are we doing next week?
So next week is crazy.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
Next
so
week
exciting.
is crazy. We are getting closer to the holidays, and so number 1, we're doing 3 wines. We're doing a Chardonnay, a Rosé, and a Pinot Noir. But the big news, Fix will tell us who is joining us, because not only are the wines delicious, but the person that's going to be talking about them is incredible, and we might have a special guest. Correct?
Correct. Yes, we have Viviana Gonzalez Rave, who makes exceptional wines from Cattleya, which is in California. But also, she was the head winemaker at Hallmeyer, who I'm sure many people who are listening are familiar with, and I know you're familiar with. She was also winemaker of the year in maybe it was 2014 to 2015. I forget which year it was. But she was held winemaker of the year from, I believe it was either Spectator or Enthusiast. I forget. I'm sorry. It was a while ago. But
She's of the year.
the year, yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. So she's an exceptional winemaker, an exceptional woman who's had a really interesting history in wine. She makes exceptional wines now. She's married to one of the Pizzonis. From Pizzoni family in Sonoma in the Santa Lucia Highlands. So we're actually going to feature a wine from them as well, which is a really delicious Pinot Noir rosé. Can I say that?
Yes.
And that's-
Rosé of Pinot Noir.
It's
Yes.
the
The Lucy.
Pizzoni.
Yeah.
Pisoni.
So we have all different wines. We're doing a Chardonnay again, and we hadn't done a lot of Chardonnays, but this is another really terrific
Yeah.
Chardonnay, like the L'Ecole, which will change your mind on Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And we did this on purpose, I think, these wines specifically for next week because it's the week before Christmas. We have some really amazing wines, you know, a couple of which are mid-priced and one of which is a little higher.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say
you're really gonna love
the
The Chardonnay is $29 a bottle, and it's from Sonoma County. It's beautiful. The Pinot Noir, the rosé of Pinot Noir, which is the Lucy, is $21. So 2 moderately priced bottles, and then the Pinot Noir is $80, and that is the Belly of the Whale.
Yeah,
which
so
is-
$80
the accolades are
is going to be your
amazing.
splurge. Maybe David should look into that one if he's interested. But I mean, you know, it is the holidays and it is Pinot Noir, and so it is a little more expensive. But you know, get your splurge in at the holidays.
Well, I wanted to feature these specifically because I love Viviana's wines. I think she makes some of the best wines in California.
Winemaker of the year. Come on.
Yeah, winemaker of the year
Winemaker
in the
of
entire
year
world.
for-
In the entire world, not California, the entire world.
Yeah.
So let's think about
amazing.
that.
Yeah.
Let's let that sink in for okay. It's okay. So then, but also, you know. And I would say this, and I say this to people not to be kind of salesman-y about it, but I would say like a wine like this Pinot Noir that's this price, that's an exceptional bottle of wine. Let's you know, come in, buy a couple bottles, you know, and buy one bottle to drink with us during the show and learn about it, and buy another bottle that you can either think about maybe giving to somebody for a gift, or maybe think about opening up during your, you know, festivities, albeit maybe limited, for dinner. I mean,
Yeah.
that way you have an idea once you tasted it, like maybe who you know that might like it or what dish you might want to cook. You know, and that's really part of it. And also we can talk a little bit about the Lucy Pinot Noir Rosé from the Pizzoni family. Viviana has married into the Pizzoni family, who's one of the most famous growers
Yeah.
of Noir in
Oh,
California.
for sure.
This rosé is absolutely phenomenal, and furthermore, they give proceeds from every bottle of this rosé to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. All year long. So
That's beautiful.
you're not only buying a absolutely delicious rosé from a premier growing region, from a premier winemaker, but also you're giving back to the Susan G. Komen Foundation for breast cancer. So I think this is a win-win in
Yeah.
every way. And Viviana is delightful, and we'll have a special guest with Viviana. And
We're gonna tease it,
yeah, it's going to be fun.
but it will be pretty neat.
The
So
last time we did a California show, we had the lovely background of Robert Bialy behind us.
yeah.
Yes.
They're at like that bewitching hour out there now at this time of the year where we get just the most
So
luxurious
beautiful.
and beautiful
I know.
views. So please stop in and get your bottle and tune in with us next Thursday, because we're not going to be on the following Thursday, of course, because it's Christmas Eve, but it'll be a perfect lead into that time period.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to really love it.
Hey, if you were gonna buy a bottle this week and a bottle next week, you'd buy the one bottle of the $80, and you've you've spent what you were going to spend on both weeks. So, thank you, Fix, for joining us. By the way, you look
Absolutely.
quite French tonight. All you need is your little beret.
For sure.
Thank you. All right, so that was a great show. It was really
a great
nice. I
show.
really like Kim, and Fix is always great for us. Last things I will say while we're finishing up is, if you didn't hear us before, the Christmas boxes are in,
That's right.
are available. So you order them and they
That's
will
right.
be in. We've got the mixed white and bubbly and
Sugar
port
and
everything.
spice.
Sugar and spice.
That's right. And
And
then
then
the all red box is Rudolph the Red-Nosed.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed,
That's
which
right.
is awesome too. And the mixed box is one bottle of each. The red box is 2 of everything except for the Mary Edwards and the port. One bottle of those, which you don't need any more than that because you're spending a lot of money and you're enjoying yourself. Again, there's parking in the back. We
That's right.
Thank you, City of Pensacola.
City of
that
Pensacola.
fixed our
You
parking
guys are
out front.
awesome.
We owe you some Belgian beer.
Yes, I went outside. I was like,
Dude's
so
listening.
what do I got to do to bribe you guys to be done before Christmas? As a joke. And they were like, oh, well, you know, we'll do the best we can. And started having a wonderful conversation about they liked Belgian beer, which I was fascinated by. And we do have a small beer purchase, you know,
Yes.
beer offering here at the shop. We can get beer, just not liquor. And so we had a great conversation about beers and IPAs and what was the difference. I was like, wow. All right, guys.
So we owe them.
We owe you.
So thank you guys. Call in, come in this week because we won't be Christmas Eve. We'll be spending with our families, as you will be. You won't be watching us, but hopefully you'll be drinking some great wine.
That's right.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.